I hope you've got your permission slips in. We're going to take a little walk out on this frozen pond in the Berkshires here. And we're going to investigate the Beaver Lodge in winter. So let's check out the Beaver Lodge and see what's interesting about a Beaver Lodge in the wintertime. And our Beaver Lodge that we're looking at is right here. You can see first that Beaver Lodge is built on a bank that faces south. This is north right here. And if I spin around, we're looking south. You know, the sun will ride across the southern sky. What's great about that Beaver Lodge is that Beaver Lodge facing south is picking up the direct rays of the sun. So it's going to get warm in there. You can even see the snow melting on the right side. So the beavers inside the lodge are going to be warmer. Now, notice that on the right and left of the lodge, because it's been a mild winter, the beaver has been able to keep these holes open. And they like to keep these holes open so that they can come out of the water once in a while. They'll swim out. You can see this pile of sticks right here, pile of forage. And what they're doing in the late summer and fall, they start cutting branches from the trees they like to eat. We have a lot of blueberry branches that are piled here, and they'll pile them up, and then as the winter comes, they're able to come out, cut a nice hunk, a nice branch like you can see right here, and they'll eat the bark. I can see a blueberry there. It looks like I got a black birch next to it, and they'll come out and they'll eat the bark, and then back into their lodge they'll go and probably bring some in for their kits and the second year and first year beaver that are in there too. Could be 6, 7 beaver in there right now, 8 beaver. Certainly there's a mated pair, and then there's last year's young and the year before's young who are just about to get kicked out. The beaver lodges usually, this is February, would be locked in solid, so the ice would be completely formed up. No matter how hard the beaver works, he's not going to be able to keep the ice away from his lodge. He likes to keep these couple of holes, or if anything, one hole open, as long as he can. Because like us, he doesn't want to be confined in that little lodge. Now, he does come out under the ice and get at his forage pile right here all winter long. But if he can get out, he can walk across the ice and he can gather some forage on his own, some new forage. He will go for a walk during the course of the day. They hate yellow birch. If there's yellow birch on a lake, they will ban the yellow birch. But he'll eat the beech, and he'll eat the black birch, and he'll eat the maple. He'll eat oak. We can see over here. I'm going to walk over here because you can see where he has attacked a maple tree. So let's walk over and check it out. See right over here? You can see those 2 swamp maples that he's been attacking. And he'll take those down, and they'll take off the branches and bring the branches back to their lodge as forage that they can pile and gnaw on and eat the bark, and they'll even eat the small twigs. That's going to keep them through the winter. The thing about the beaver is he's got to anticipate how long the winter's going to be and have enough in his forage pile, that you can see there, so that he can make it through the winter. They got to have enough forage or they're not going to make it. I'm going to stand here for a little while and see if this guy will come up. Believe it or not, I made a video for you yesterday, and I got some video of the beaver, but I had it on super slow motion, with the result being I got no me. You can see me, you can see the beaver, but you can't hear me. The audio doesn't work, and there's no way to fix it. So I had to make a journey back up here because I care about bringing good content to you guys. The European in the 17th century, when New England, the Northeast, is colonized by the English, the Dutch, and the French, Europe is going through a craze, a fur craze, and especially for beaver fur because it's waterproof. They didn't have rubber, they didn't have plastic yet, and beaver fur can be made into a felt that's particularly waterproof. And of course, the Europeans, starting with Samuel Champlain and Peter Minuit, he's a Dutchman, Champlain's a Frenchman, our own William Pension from the Springfield colony, these merchant adventurers will establish colonies that are all about profit and making money. And they will get, especially Champlain, Minuit, and Pension, who I'm talking about, they'll make contact and connection with the native people. And while you're typically led to believe that the English were nothing but freebooters stealing native lands, when we're talking about our friend William Pension from the Springfield colony, he recognized the importance of good relations with the native people so that he could get them to do the hunting. So, the Dutch, French, and English would exploit the beaver population using the native people to act as scouts and hunters. It was really important for them to maintain good relationships with the native tribes in their area. In the case of the Dutch, that would mean the Mohican people of the Taconics and, of course, the Iroquois in central New York. Whereas for Pension here, it would be the native people, Tunxis, Nonotuck, Nipmuc, Agawam, Pocumtuck, the people of the river tribes, they call them. And they would work as his hunters. Now, they had for years hunted beaver themselves. Waiting in December, their month for hunting beaver, for the beaver to be reduced to only a couple holes that they could access air. And then a group of hunters would attack the beaver lodge and drive the beaver out of the lodge. The beaver would come out, swim under the ice, and then eventually need to get some air. And when they came up, the native people would club them or pull them out with hooks, or they really tried not to shoot them, with arrows or hit them with spears because that would ruin the fur. When the native people hunted them themselves, though, they didn't mind. The Europeans explained the need to maintain the integrity of the pelt. The native people were hunting them for their waterproof fur and also for their tail, which is a great protein source and can be dried out real easy because it's got so little fat in it. It can make a great jerky. It can be made into, just a great meal, I guess, if you like your protein in the form of beaver tail. The beaver has a critter, drives their younger beaver. As they mature, they get driven out by the adults. And they have to find new habitat. They'll often go upstream half a mile, and they'll build themselves a dam. And that dam protects the beaver from their enemies. Often in that sort of situation, they'll build their lodge as an island. They'll look for a couple of trees, a stump, and they'll build their lodge with that supporting it or anchoring it. And their lodge is out in the middle of the beaver pond, making it pretty insulated from attack by predators. And there's a lot of predators that go after beaver, from bear to coyote to fisher cat. But because they're out in the middle of the beaver pond, they're pretty hard to get at. And that's pretty cool if you think about it. So they create their own pond, which is a defense mechanism. And it's also a larder. When they build that, it's a supermarket. When they build that pond, it's going to flood out the surrounding trees and kill off the big ones, allowing light to get into the canopy, and it's going to bring in the bushes that they love to eat so much. So it's really something else what beaver do. This is a great year for beaver. He's going to do his thing, camped out under his lodge, and it looks like we're looking at an early spring, so they'll be swimming around in a very short time. Remember now, if you want more field trip action, you're going to want to like and subscribe and hit that little bell for notifications. Because I'm bringing you one of these a week. And you might enjoy it. Definitely, I'm going to try to bring you some things I think are cool. And if you got any ideas, hit me up in the comments section. Fishing Historic Places.